So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I managed to build a robotic prototype finger for my robotic hand that I'm trying to build. And this is a big project, so I'm not going to be making one single video on it. I'm going to be doing it step by step, so you can also go along with the process and actually see how long it takes me to build this thing. Firstly, I only have one finger because I only ordered 3 proper servo motors, and yes, I am using 15 individual servo motors for my entire hand, and that is not the most efficient way of doing it, but I decided to do it that way, and so it's going to be that way because this is my project. Okay, but jokes aside, I'm going to be showing you this finger. I'm going to be talking about it and about the process of how I built this. So let's get right into the CAD part. So when I started doing all of the CAD for this project, I was lucky and I quickly found a image of the servo motor that I was using with all the dimensions, and I quickly inserted that into CAD and was able to make a 3D model of the servo motor. And after around that, I made this little box that you're seeing on screen right now. And so after having done that, I started printing them. There were some versions that didn't work out, some were a bit too thin, too thick, and I had to do some tests, and after that I ended up with a pretty good one that was working and was functioning like I imagined it to. Next, I had to think about the more complex details. I now had a box that I could attach one lever on the left side and on the right side. And by the way, yes, I didn't mention it, these levers, I didn't make them on CAD. I was too lazy to do that. And so I went on Thingiverse and just searched up servo, and it was actually by chance, by luck, that I found these. And at the time I didn't know I was going to use them, and in my head I was like, okay, well, I might as well just download this STL file, might need it later. I did need it later because now each finger contains 6 of these levers, and I used those, attached them, and now I had to think about the next step. The next step was, how am I going to attach the same I could say like construction of parts together, but then because I'm gonna need 3 of these per finger. And so I started making these sort of like cylinders that would, like, honestly you could call them little twigs, that would be on the bottom of the box. So I needed to make the actual box bigger in terms of length, so it became longer. I added these small cylinders. There was quite a bit of a challenge with it, as the dimensions, them being very small, the dimensions had to be very precise for them to be a proper fit, yet not too big, not too small, because I would otherwise have to glue it, and I didn't want to do that at the start. Yet towards the end, when I was sure of the finger design, I did glue them. So after having done all the CAD, I moved on to the 3D printing part. So the 3D printing part for this project was probably the simpler part out of all of them. By this time, I was already good at 3D printing. I knew how my 3D printer worked, and yes, I used the Ender 3 V2 printer, so if you want to know what that is, I'll probably put a link in the description or something, or you can search it up. It's a pretty good printer. I'm not sponsored to say this, even though I wish I was, but I used it, and by that time I didn't have any problems with it. I could just turn on the printer, start to print, and then leave, come back in an hour, check it out, and then just take it off the build plate and have a print ready. So that was really practical, and in total I calculated that it would take me about 16 hours to print all of the necessary parts for one finger, only one finger. And after having done that, I had my single finger ready, and that's when I started actually putting the parts together. I don't really want to use screws for this project, or any other type of nail, screw, or whatever you want to call it. I just said, well, glue works, right? And as you'll see in the photo or in the little video that I'll be showing of this finger, it does work pretty well. It's pretty sturdy. I don't think it's gonna go really well with like lifting heavy things. It might not be as durable as I think it is, but it didn't break for now, so I'm fine with it. And so I used glue, and I'm not 100% sure about the design of this finger. I don't want to completely glue everything up together, and so I only glued one side of the levers. So essentially I'm pretty well, it depends on how you look at it, but one lever is glued up to the top part, so the part that's above it, and only one lever. And so I can actually disassemble this finger in 2 parts, and each part will only have one servo, so I can then manipulate the servos, change them out and stuff. Later on, actually, after having glued all of that, the cables were in my way, and so I decided to glue the cables to the actual servo with the same type of glue, and as you can see, it worked out pretty well. They're holding on, and so that works, and that's actually super practical because you know, not having these cables not flying around everywhere, it's good, because especially when you have 3 other wires coming out of a single servo motor, it can get confusing and hectic. One thing that I do want to mention for anybody who's probably going to be doing this and as a starter, you want to make sure and take into account the fact that when bending, there's more distance between each joint. And what I mean is that you need to take extra cable. So if my fingers straighten out, as you can see right now on screen, there's like a little bump of the wires for the servo. That is there on purpose. I'm a very aesthetic person, and I wouldn't want to just leave it there, but I have to leave it there because if the finger bends and that's not there, it's not gonna bend. Case 1, it's either gonna bend and rip the wires of the servo, which I don't think will happen. These things are pretty durable. And case 2, it just won't bend. That's it. So you need to take some precautions and get some extra distance on the cable, and probably honestly don't take the exact amount, take a bit more. Sometimes it may be imprecise, but that's very important. That was the actual assembly part, and so I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be soon probably making a part 2. I already ordered all of the parts that I need. There should be a batch of 9 coming in soon that I ordered from AliExpress, but AliExpress takes a lot of time, so I tried choosing the optimal option, but nothing super optimal. But there should be some coming in soon. I'll probably make an update when I finish all the fingers, or the 4 fingers, and then start working on the thumb. I'm not sure how I'm going to do the thumb yet, but you're going to see that in the video. That's probably going to be part 3, and I'll talk about part 2 in the next video. That's going to be the other 4 fingers, as I mentioned. And so I hope you enjoyed this video, hope you learned something new, and hope you come back for the next one. Have a good day.